Okay, guys. See if I can get this light a little bit better. Sorry to mess with the light. Okay, part one of the workshop. Basically, you've got your measurements. Hopefully you have washed and blocked your swatches and then counted your stitches per inch. Determine whether you're going to do 1, 2 inches for your count, because some of you may have odd numbers and need to divide that by 2 to get how much per inch to get your total measurement for your piece, to divide it and then round up. I wouldn't round down, I'd round up. You know, it's one stitch. It'll be okay. And then of course then you've used that for your calculations for your sweater, and that is coming up next. Since we're doing from the bottom up, I have gone ahead and started a cast on for my knitting, and I've done 10 rows but 1 by 1 ribbing, and started the stockinette part, as well as started the crochet for my bottom. Not doing anything special, and I do explain where I'm going to work up to. You also need to have the measurement from under your armpit to where you want your sweater to stop at the bottom. And yeah, the next thing is to cast on, chain the amount after you've done the math. Like I said, that video is coming. That'll end the video a little bit, and hopefully you can get started on your knitting and crocheting. And or you can use any yarn you want to. Like I said, you can use any size hook, any size needles, but make sure you've done that gauge swatch so you know how many stitches per inch for your math part. The math is not that hard. Most of us have cell phones or calculators around to help with the math. Really, it's not that hard. And yeah, that's the hardest part. So after this is finished and you're all ready to go, I hope that you guys will start your cast on crochet, and I'll check back with you in a couple of days once I've got some of these pieces worked up a little bit further. Probably this is Tuesday, probably Friday afternoon or Saturday afternoon while we're still hunkered down in our home. I do have some sewing that I'm doing. I am making more masks, and I am also working on some more bags to put into the shop. I have a bunch cut. I just haven't done a lot of sewing on them because I've been doing quite a few other things, you know, like the mask and a couple other things here in the house to kind of clean up, tidy up, and do some things there. We decided we have a lot of things we don't need, so we're boxing those up so that they can go to Goodwill, Salvation Army, wherever it is that we're going to donate them. And so yeah, we've been doing a couple of things in the house that just we've ignored. All right, everybody, good luck. Get started, and I'll see you again. Of course, on the Facebook group, you can ask questions if you want to. I don't know if I have any answers. Like I said, I just play a crochet knit expert on YouTube. Doesn't mean I am. There are a lot of you that can use measurements from some of the sizing charts that are out there. You just need to Google them. I tend to prefer to use my own measurements, and yeah. So, we'll see you again soon, and let's get busy working on our tops. Okay, guys, here comes the fun part, the math. Now, I can't believe that I'm going to do this, but I'm going to give you my hip measurement. My hip measurement is 60 inches. and I want a positive ease of 2 inches, which gives me 62 inches. And you're going to divide that by 2. Why? Because we're doing a front and a back, and that gives me 31. Now I know my stitches per inch for my lovely little blocked and washed and blocked swatch was 4 stitches to the inch. So I'm going to multiply that by 4, which gives me a 4 and 124 stitches that I am going to cast on for knitting and or chain for crochet. But I'm going to do a 1x1 ribbing on my knit. So I am going to add 1 stitch to it to get 125, and also because I'm going to crochet half double crochets is what my stitch is. You can use whatever stitch you want for your crochet. You just need to know how many stitches are in that swatch. I also need to add a chain of 1 so that I can turn and start with 124 stitches. Now my 1x1, I am going to knit the first and last stitch. But then from there I will start with knit 1, purl 1 all the way across. I've never done a 1x1 edging for anything on anything I've ever done. I thought I would try that. Normally I do a 2x2 ribbing or a 3x1 ribbing. But I thought I'm going to try a 1x1 ribbing. I had a friend tell me that that makes a real nice ribbing for garments, especially for sweaters, so that's what I'm going to do. So from here, to get started, all you need to do is cast on the amount of stitches, and since it is from the bottom up, the hips is going to be, for me, it is my biggest measurement. My hips are much bigger than my bust, so I will have to decrease as I start getting close to my bust line a little bit, unless I just leave it really baggy. For those of you that your bust line is much bigger than your hips, as we get a little further, you'll have to increase to get for your bust, unless you're going to keep it a negative ease. And negative ease is basically, it is smaller than your body measurements, however smaller you want to make it. And positive ease is larger than your body measurements. So you do have some choices, and that's basically what you need to do. Now when you get into, for your crochet, I am not doing a border per se for that, so I'm just going to do half double crochets all the way across, and I will probably do that up until about 1 inch under, because the next measurement you need is from your, we're going to draw a little bit of a schematic. This is being your hip. As we get closer, about 1 inch from this measurement, I am going to start decreasing for my bust. For those of you that need to increase, you'll need to increase at that point. But here is the next measurement you need, and that is from your arm, under your armpit, to the length of your sweater you want for crochet and knit. Doesn't matter. either one. You want that measurement so that you know how long you need to knit, how tall you need to crochet before you start your decreases or increases. I'm going to take away maybe 1.5 inches to give myself enough time to start decreasing for me. Those of you with bigger busts, you may want to do the same thing, or 2 inches lower to start increasing for your bust if you need to. But you want to know what this measurement, say this measurement is, from the armpit to the bottom of my shirt, top, let's say it's 12 inches. Now I don't know what it is because I haven't looked at my measurement chart yet. But if it were 12 inches, then I would take 1.5 inches and I would knit up to, was that 10.5? Yep. I would knit up to 10.5 or crochet up to 10.5 inches from that bottom edge so that I could start decreasing. You could do less than that, you can do 1 inch, whatever. Like I said, you can actually do it like the row before if you really want it, but most of us, our bust starts long before our armpit, so that's why I give myself a little bit of a leeway there. So now you need to just start casting on with your knitting, whatever cast on you like. I have done a long tail cast on for my knitting, and I have already started knitting that. And for my knitting, I have done 10 rows of the 1x1 ribbing. And then I started my stockinette stitch. And yes, I did this yesterday. So I've got a little bit of going along here, done in that blue. I really like the way it's looking. And like I said, I will continue to knit one on this end, knit one on the other end, so that you get a nicer seam allowance on the sides. And it gives you something when you get to sewing where you can pick up in between the V's for the mattress stitch. So that's what I've done with that. The crochet, I've just started a little bit doing my half double crochets, and that's what I'm getting. Done a couple of rows. So now you just need to start working on that. And yeah, that's it for there. That's that big part of the math. It's really huge. I do like mine a little looser in here. If you want it a little tighter, you could certainly start decreasing, increasing wherever you want to. I know this is a lot of decisions on your own part, but I think you'll be surprised how well it comes together. When we get up to the sleeves, and I am going to put some sleeves on, I am not going to worry about doing decreases here and here because I'm going to build that into my sweater. So basically my sweater is going to be pretty much like this. And then I will work a neckline in it. Now, that's another decision that you'll have to make, whether you want a rounded neck or a V-neck or just a straight boat neck, which basically you would just crochet, knit your shape like this, and then decide a point where your neck is, and sew, and you would have a boat neck. I'm not going to do that. The back piece is going to be a straight piece like this for me, and I'm going to decide on my neckline. I think I am going to do more of a curved neckline on the front, But yeah, let's get started. Work on your back. Like I said, I'm working my back straight. Basically, I am going to stop here under the armpits, you know, like I said, that 1.5 inch, so I can increase or decrease for me a little bit. And then we'll add some stitches on either side for sleeves so that you can work that all in one piece pretty much. But for now, just worry about your bottom to start for your math, and then also your armpit to the bottom of your sweater. And that's it for the math part. We'll work on the rest a little bit later when we get closer to that. Now you can start, you can do your front and your back, you know, up to that point if you want to. Or you could just do the front, then do the back later, or do the back, and then the front later. Man, so many decisions. Just go for it, guys. Let's get it started.